What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dylan Clemens, here with me, as always, on every Friday night talking game previews. And this week, we're talking Week 6 game previews. They're my two co-hosts, Michael Platt and Ike Body. What's up, guys, on this beautiful Friday the 13th? How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. I'm ready to talk some ball with you fellas.
I'm good. The day was shitty, being all rainy, but that's good for a Friday the 13th. It's like opposite day. That's good.
What's your guys' favorite movie to sit down and watch this time of the year? You know, it's fall time. We're heading into that Halloween season. It's Friday the 13th. Like, do you guys have any go-to
Halloween?
Halloween's yours, like? What about you, LaPlante?
Halloween's a good go-to. Mine was always Friday the 13th, though, with Jason.
Nice.
I still remember, like, you know, back in the day, like, your imagination will run wild. I remember, like, running up the stairs, like, thinking, like, oh, my God, he's coming after me,
Act like somebody's chasing you.
Yeah,
like they're going to sweep your leg.
Yeah, had a few nightmares as a kid about him a little, but the movies I loved.
Yeah, no doubt you're going to have that. I always was like a Chucky fan growing up, man. Like,
wow, nice.
Yeah, like that was kind of my
You watch
thing.
any of the new
Weird,
Chucky stuff?
creepy. No, I haven't. I've heard decent things, right? It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
Right on, guys. But all right, let's start jumping into some football stuff. But before I do, I just want to remind you guys to please hit that like button, please subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you know when we go live. And then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and check and become a monthly all access member for $9.99. Wow, I can't talk. Going too fast. For $9.99 a month, you get access to our award-winning rankings, access to our draft cheat sheets when we have drafts, obviously. Access to the F6P Discord where you get custom advice for your leagues and DFS builds, direct access to our F6P team guys. You get access to the AMAs and you get access to our DFS projections and stacking tool. It's really it's a lot of great content and a lot of great stuff, guys, for just under $10 a month. It's definitely worth the price of admission.
I know you weren't looking because you were reading a script because you literally admitted it to us because you couldn't read. But
what's a read?
Connor said Paranormal Activity was always the one that spooked him.
See, man, those ones are more thinkers to me, and it loses me. That's like the stuff that my wife likes right there is like the weird spooky stuff. Are you guys into that too?
Unexplainable stuff?
Yeah, right.
I actually don't believe in it, but it does freak me the fuck out.
Totally, dude.
I like all scary movies.
I'm a seeing is believing type, and if you see nothing moving something, it's pretty believable.
Right, yeah. No,
unless you can't explain it with some sort of like magnets or something.
Right. But all right, guys, let's jump into things. We got two teams out of bye this week. We got the Green Bay Packers and the Steelers at home watching football with the rest of us. The first game we got on our docket here is the Baltimore Ravens at the Tennessee Titans. Ike, let's start with you. Are you starting to worry about Lamar Jackson and his weapons? Like it wasn't great last week. It's been a roller coaster. How are you feeling?
I mean, last week was his only really bad week. He's had 22 plus fantasy point games prior to playing the Steelers. And for some reason, every time Ravens play Steelers, it's a low scoring game. So you should have expected that. But it is weird that all of his guys just drop passes. I don't know why. It just is it's just their thing. But it should figure it out. I would like to think so, but I think Lamar's fine.
Fucking LaPlante's guy, Rashad Bateman back there, volleyball.
Shut up.
You can
Mark
drop
Andrews,
by the way.
Mark Andrews too. Don't even.
He probably should not be on your roster.
You know
Bateman,
I don't want you on my roster.
Bateman really.
Well, yeah, I don't play football, so.
Are you all right with Zay, Ike? With his,
yes,
I know his ADOT's starting to go up right every week. It's kind of gotten better.
In 3 of his 5 games, he's seen 10 plus targets. He's clearly the guy in that wide receiver offense. So, Jesus,
use you.
Yeah, hold on.
Take a breather.
And then it's for me. It's really Zay Jones and it's Mark Andrews. But Andrews, man, he's so
Zay
frustrating too. Yeah, Zay Jones. God dang it. Suck tonight, man.
All right, we're on a roll tonight, guys. If you want to hang out for some laughs, you're in for it.
Yeah, make sure you smash the like button every time I make a mistake, man. We're gonna have tons of likes.
I don't think I can count that high.
But yeah, anything to add on
As he's just doubting a water.
LaPlante, how about you? You got anything to add on Mark Andrews? You worried about him, or is he still like you still feel like he's the number 2 guy behind Kelsey, or is like Hockenson jumped ahead of him?
Hockenson, I mean, with the JJ injury, it does kind of vault Hockenson a little bit more, which scares me because I got to play him in the home league. But it's still Mark Andrews as a 2B to Hawkinson's 2A right now because he's still getting the targets. It's just nobody's perfect. I mean, not everybody can catch every ball.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Except one of the players I'm talking about later in one of the matchups.
Ike, let me just throw this one at you. Who would you rather start here? Just give me real quick. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill.
Ugh.
Justice Hill. He scored a touchdown.
And he's playing more snaps than Gus Edwards as well. Mike, let's talk about this Tennessee offense. That's it's goofy.
It's pretty bad.
It's goofy. You got Derrick Henry trying to throw touchdown passes every week. You got Tajay Spears out snapping him at times. Let's talk Tajay Spears, though. Is he flexible now with the snaps that he's getting?
Well, playing 50% of the snaps already to Henry's 56.3. Just for a little bit of context, that is more than Brian Robinson is playing this year. He's only played 48.8% of the snaps for the Commanders. So that's a little alarming for Brian Robinson owners, not Tajay Spears owners. But Spears is currently RB30 right now in total points, RB38 in fantasy points per game at only 8.4. It's really a testament to how RBs are right now. They're kind of struggling hard. So he's a fringe flex play with the usage he's getting, but again, it's fringe because this offense isn't very good.
Yeah.
Like he was definitely saved for the most part by the touchdown last week.
Mm-hmm.
But he is tied in 11th in targets for running backs with 19, 13th in receptions with 14. Fringe desperation flex play with hopes of a touchdown. But I mean, with the running back depth, it's you can make the argument for him being in the flex.
Sure. Did what we see from DeAndre Hopkins last week give us any more excitement for him the rest of the season?
Yes, and I hope he proves me wrong because I said that he was not going to succeed in this offense, but that was a step in the right direction.
Perfect. Yeah, man. All of us on the Sunday show definitely were not on DeAndre Hopkins this past week, and he showed
like he's a volume guy. He got 8
Mhm.
receptions. I believe it was 11 targets. He had over 120 yards. I think it was 140 yard. So like he's not going to have big plays. He needs the volume, and Treylon Burks is out again this week, so more volume.
Yep, right on. Next game we got here is the Washington Commanders taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Ike, let's jump right into the position that everybody loves, the tight end position. Is Logan Thomas a trustworthy tight end one now?
Did you target him Did you target him with the pickup in the home league because he got Logan Thomas? And you started him
I did.
No, I had no idea.
Okay, I was gonna say that's funny if that works out like that.
He's finished as a tight end 1 in 3 of his 4 games played. And
that's not much of an accomplishment, guys. It's not being a tight end 1. It's not.
But hey, that's all you need for the tight end spot. But Falcons allow the 5th most points to tight ends, 2nd most catches, 5th most yards. So starting him over like Jake for some reason I can't talk right now. I would start him over like Jake Ferguson, maybe Darren Waller with how bad the offense is, especially with Tyrod Taylor playing. So that's a little bit iffy. But yeah, he's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah, our guy Keith Fleming is definitely someone who's been pounding the table, talking about every week how Atlanta cannot cover opposing tight ends. So Logan Thomas is definitely a DFS play, and I think he needs to be played in lineups in this matchup if he's on your roster as well. Ike, but what do we do about Jahan Dotson, man? Like Curtis Samuel's out producing him. Hell, it feels like Logan Thomas is out producing him. What do we do with him after we use pretty decent draft capital on him during draft season?
for the most part, you probably went and got him in the 5th or later round, probably 7th, I'd say, somewhere around there, whatever. But right now, you probably shouldn't drop him just because the talent is there. So I'd be holding him in all formats, 10 and 12 team leagues. But I mean, he scored 10 or less fantasy points in all but one game.
Yeah, crazy.
He hasn't topped 5 catches or 40 yards. So I mean, it's not looking good for him. And plus, Falcons are a tough matchup against wide receivers. Compared to tight ends, they're actually really bad against tight ends, good against wide receivers. So another week you can expect a bad one.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah, man, I hear you there. Mike, let's talk about this Atlanta Falcons offense. And well, here we go again. Kyle Pitts, right when we're out, you sucked me right back in with 11 or 12 targets, whatever he frickin' saw last
11.
week. What do we do now, man? Is he just... If you roster him, you're just riding the peaks and valleys. You're just starting him, or what are we doing?
I mean, you know the Spider-Man meme where you got the two like pointing at each other. Like, I hate to say it, but Arthur Smith has turned Kyle Pitts into Jonnu Smith, and they're like looking at each other because they're exactly the same in this offense for the most part. Pitts snap percentage through 5 games, 65.2. Pitts, and then Smith's is 62.5, so even that somehow, gets in there and works out. Pitts has 32 targets, the Smith's 27, so like only 5 target difference, but like I'm looking at the target accuracy on fantasy data. Thank you, fantasy data, for letting us use that. Smith is 15th for tight ends in the target accuracy of just, it's just like it says, accuracy of the target. Pitts is 31st, like almost dead last. And then
where they're ADOT though.
Yeah, it's probably yeah. But I hear his point.
But
for sure.
The
That's
accuracy,
double.
if it's not accurate though, the ADOT don't help.
Yeah.
But both have 3 red zone targets. Like the only difference is Smith has just been a little bit more efficient because he's been getting more accurate targets. So I'm starting Pitts because tight ends suck and there's really not many other options unless like if it's between Logan Thomas and Pitts, I'm probably going to play Logan Thomas because he's had 3 of the 4, past games. It's tight end 1 and Pitts just finally got some life. But if you got Pitts or Smith, fuck it, go for the upside, play Pitts.
Yeah, I hear you. And then let me just throw this other guy, this important guy in this Falcons offense. Let's talk Drake London here for a minute.
Oh yeah.
Who would you rather start in this matchup this week, guys? Drake London or Terry McLaurin?
Drake London.
Right? It's very matchup based here for me because Washington is brutal.
It's the sacks, man.
Against wide receivers.
Yeah, Sam Howell's just taking like a record breaking amount of sacks right now, and he is on pace.
They're airing the ball out, so
yeah. So like, I hate it, but it's Drake London. I mean, if you played it's like I say it every week. If you played against Kelsey, play McLaurin because he's got higher upside because you've seen it before. But right now, Drake London, I guess, is technically safer. He's at least getting touchdowns. What is it, like 3 of 5 games he has a touchdown? Like,
yeah,
that's better than 50%.
Yeah, I would be playing Drake London over Terry McLaurin for this week.
It's close,
and then go from there. Yeah, but the matchup is really good for
I wouldn't be
Drake London this week.
Wouldn't be surprised if projections said Terry McLaurin scores more points than Drake London, but I still would take Drake London.
He's gonna get shut down by AJ Terrell.
Jesse Bates has been killing it too.
Yep.
Who has more sacks, Howell or Daniel Jones? I mean, they're probably closer than we anticipated.
No, it's actually Sam Howell leads the league. Yeah, Justin Fields was second. Yeah.
Daniel Jones just took that crazy amount.
18 in 2 games.
Yes, but yeah, it was Sam Howell. He's on pace for an absurd amount of sacks.
I think he had 18 sacks on him in 1.5 games.
Next game, guys, we got here is an NFC North battle between the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Ike, start with you here. What are we doing with this Vikings backfield, man? Especially this week in a good matchup against the Bears.
It seems like first off, Cam Akers is still getting used to the playbook and all that. So as the season progresses, I'm assuming it's going to be more Akers than Madison for like inside the touchdown and all that. But PPR wise, you're going to want Madison, especially this week, because the Bears allow 30 fantasy points a game to running backs. They allow the second most catches to running backs, the most yards to running backs through the air. They also allow the second or tied for the most receiving touchdowns by running backs. So this is a good week for Madison. If you have them, play them.
They're really trying to like take the throne from the Broncos for being the worst defense. Like they're really trying.
They really are.
I feel like the Vikings offense really isn't funneled through throwing to the running backs here, though. That's what worries me. So I don't know if this is the team to attack the Bears with. You know what I mean? So
that's true, but I don't know why the Bears are giving up so much to the running backs. It's not like their pressure is so good to where it's like, oh shit, I gotta get off.
Right, and the Bears linebackers are supposed to be good, you know. So
maybe they just don't cover the running back.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And those linebackers are probably going to need to be covered. TJ Hawkinson this week as well with the Justin Jefferson news about him being out. But Ike, I want to discuss with you, does KJ Osborne just kind of slide into the JJ's offensive role here? Or do you obviously we don't expect him to be JJ, but wide receiver 3 territory or no?
Oh, yeah. Wide receiver. I think Addison's going to be better than Osborne till just Jefferson comes back, if he does. But he's seen 6+ targets in 3 out of 5 games. He saw 9 in the game that Justin Jefferson left. So that right there shows you that he's used and he's going to be a part of the game plan. Plus, he has 2 touchdowns on the year. So he probably is a decent touchdown threat. So, yeah, wide receiver 3 in a good matchup for sure. Could be high scoring, too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Mike, let's check out the other team in this game, the Chicago Bears. I'm going to change the question up on you a little bit with Roschon Johnson being ruled out with the concussion as well, and Khalil Herbert is out with the ankle injury. He was also placed on IR, guys. I'm curious. Deonta Foreman, it looks like he's going to lead the backfield. So I want your thoughts on him for this weekend, and then I'm curious on your thoughts on him and Roschon moving forward with Khalil Herbert being out for the next 4 games as well. So let's start with Deonta Foreman this week. Is he a smash start against this Vikings defense?
I mean, he's not a smash start, but, I collected the data from weeks 1 through 4, and pretty much what this offense produces is a fringe flex play. That RB2, like real fringe, but at least, flex play worthy. Herbert's finishes 1 through 4. Week 1 was 24, RB 24. Week 2, RB 35. Week 3, RB 55, and then week 4, he we saw the ceiling of a running back in this offense.
Yeah,
in week 4, and he was RB 8. And then I took just all 3 running backs from week 5 because that was when the injury happened.
Mm-hmm. Cleo was on his way to a good game.
Did you use Corey Blasingame too?
I did use Corey Blasingame as well. They all equated to 12.1 fantasy points, which that week would have finished RB 22. So I took it all. Average of it was RB 29 through 5 weeks through this, for the RB for this offense. So like I said, fringe flex play. Even more of a fringe RB2, but with the way RB injuries are happening and just the lack of production, I mean, this is a good matchup. It's the Vikings. There's points to be had here.
Yep. Very sloppy weather, it sounds like, too. It's been raining in our area for the past couple of days, and it's supposed to rain all weekend, so it's going to be interesting as well. I do like Foreman this week, Mike. He's a big play threat. I know I wrote about him in my waiver wire article this week, and he was like top 15 in breakaway run rate, top 15 in breakaway runs last year. And this is a guy, he ran over 900 yards last year for the Panthers. So I think in a sloppy mess of a game, I think he brings very solid value for your fantasy lineups. They
have him as a veteran. They need him with all the
100%. They need him 100%.
He's better than Blasingame. No offense to Blasingame, good fullback.
Yep. Did you see that stud running the ball last week?
Yeah, I
You
saw him, and as he got
you
up from
stud,
being
you.
tackled, he was still holding the ball like this, like his arm was stuck because he was
He ain't
so
letting that
afraid.
ball go.
He was so afraid.
I love it. Next game, guys, we got here is the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to throw a weird one at you here. We're starting to see Zach Charbonnet get worked into this Seahawks offense a little bit more. And now that the bye week has happened, I'm curious your thoughts on if you believe that Walker's value is going to start taking a hit now that maybe Sharps is getting a little more worked into the offense.
I think the offense is too good to where it can't support two of them. Like Charbonnet will be good in PPR because he's targeted Walker the past 3 games. So that's going to continue along with his snap percentage going up, which is at only 29%. Expect that to go up to at least 35 to 40, I would assume, because after the bye, that's when rookie running backs start getting more ramped up in the offense. But why would you want to take Walker off the field when he's just killing it? He's got 5 touchdowns. He's RB, what is on the year, 2 or 3 right now?
Yeah, gotta be. Yep.
So he's going to get most of the carries, 17 plus in 3 straight games. So he's going to keep that up more than likely, maybe 15. But still, he's a big play, and you got to keep him starting.
Yeah, no doubt. Raise your hand if you missed on Kenneth Walker this offseason. I'll go ahead and do that because I did not expect him to do what he's done through the first 5 weeks of the season. Yeah, I noticed, man. He's been very solid. So, and I expect that
all running backs are getting hurt this year, so I'm sure it's going to happen.
Don't say that. What are you doing?
They are. They
always do. Asshole.
That's why they have Zach Charbonnet, so they don't kill him. They're going to have Zach do all the PPR work.
Like if you go look back at the history of it, there's not very many running backs playing all 17 or 16 games throughout a season.
So everybody, Michael Plan is telling you to sprint to the waiver wire and go pick up Zach Charbonnet.
He gets hurt, blame him.
He deserves
this stuff. He just Friday the 13th, man, of all days. You're wild, man.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
You're wild, man.
Who does that?
And you're telling people to go pick up Charbonnet when he should already be rostered already.
I don't make the rules. I do the waiver wire article every week. He's owned in under 25% of leagues. I promise.
That needs to change.
I agree. And
it's a run first offense.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, he's only like
you DK lover. It's a run first offense.
Dude, he's only seeing 29% of the snaps right now. Obviously, it's gonna go up, but you gotta wait and see.
Let me throw something at you guys here, too. Let's talk JSN a little bit, just for 10 seconds. Is he a guy who needs to be rostered, or is he someone? Because I've seen him, when I'm answering Discord questions, I've seen people asking now if they should pick him up because he is available on their waiver wires.
In 10-teamers, no. In 12-teamers, if you're desperate, fuck it. I have him in a 12-teamer, the American Raz one. It's like...
It's after the bye now, Mike, too, yeah.
It's just he has to be rostered because, I mean, DK's going through a chest injury right now. Good offense. It is an efficient offense. I don't know about a good passing offense. Geno Smith is he's smart getting him into the correct play, and it seems like the correct play most of the time is running the ball. So, I do think he needs to be rostered in 12 teams or deeper, but 10-teamers, leave him there.
Agreed.
All right, right on. Mike, this Bengals offense, man, we finally saw it explode last week. Is Joe Burrow and the rest of his weapons back in the circle of trust?
Nope, not at all. Weeks 1 through 4, the Cardinals allow the 3rd most fantasy points to QBs at 20.9 a game, and tied for 7th most for wide receivers at 40.8 per game. So it was a beautiful matchup in the making for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase last week. Joe Mixon got the volume. We like that. We like the volume he saw. He was top. I think he was number 2 for the most touches last week, honestly, from what I remember. But here's the thing. We get another good matchup for the Bengals and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Now, granted, cornerbacks are tough with Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen. But the Seahawks have allowed the 12th most points to QB so far and the most to wide receivers at 48.2 a game. So I'm sure Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow can take advantage of that. So it's a matchup to feel confident in, and if they do well, then I'll put him in my circle of trust. But we need to see it 2 times in a row.
T. Higgins with that fractured rib. Full practice participant today. Still listed as questionable. If you own T. Higgins,
he's a goddamn decoy.
And I figured that's what you were going to say. But are you still playing T. Higgins if you roster him?
Nope.
If you got better options like you two pricks in our league.
Dude, one shot and he is done.
Let me through. Would you rather start in your flex position? Would you rather start T. Higgins or Deonta Foreman?
Fuck.
Man, that's tough because
that's a real question though right now that people could absolutely have. See, that's
Deonta Foreman. Deonta Foreman.
At least you know he's gonna get 10 to 15 touches.
Yeah, I thought about it. It's Deonta Foreman.
Yeah, all right. I hear you.
That's gross.
They don't trust Higgins,
like
guys.
Ooh.
Don't trust Higgins.
Jamie's curious about Boyd this week. You know, they're not good against slot wide receivers. I wouldn't be shocked if that's where most of those.
I'll let you take it, Mike. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I wouldn't be shocked if most of those 48.2 points per game are from the slot. You know, because they have Devin Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen on the outside, just locking it down. But Jamar Chase moves around everywhere in this offense, so
it's a flex option for sure.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase is going to take majority of the coverage. You know, the safety over the top. Like Tyler Boyd is still a good flex option with T. Higgins out, or even T. Higgins playing. I'm still playing Tyler Boyd.
Sure. And I want to say last week or their last game they played was on Monday night, and when Devin Witherspoon blew up, they had moved him into the slot because they were so bad against slot receivers. So I'm curious to see if he stays there because that's what he got the interception. Yeah, he looked very, very good. So that's definitely interesting.
He looked like a top 5 draft pick. Should.
Yeah, something to keep an eye on here in this matchup and moving forward. This next game we got here, man, this was going to be a good matchup on papers, but now with Deshaun Watson out, this could get ugly early. We got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Cleveland Browns. Ike, this 49ers offense is absolutely humming, but this is a tough matchup for Brock Purdy and the offense. Is he a top 12 guy against the Browns this week?
Man, do I hope I get proved wrong here, but no, he's not. You can find somebody else. If he does get top 12 and he looks really good, he probably should be started in every game moving forward because this is a game where a lot of shit's stacked against him. I mean, the Browns are averaging or only allowing 15 completions per game, under 150 yards per game, and they allow less than a touchdown per game. So if Brock Purdy does his thing this week, then all systems go for him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and we just saw him pick apart another top-notch defense last week in Dallas. It didn't matter, man. He just dropping darts everywhere. And I just thought he was a product of the system. And then a couple throws last week, I'm like, all right, he's got it, I think.
Yeah. But hey, Myles Garrett is going to be coming for him because apparently he wants to add him to the jacket thing he's got.
I'm sure he'll get him at least one time. So that'll be interesting. Obviously, you're starting McCaffrey. You're starting Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle, the 2 touchdowns. Gotta love to see that. Might have even been 3
touchdowns.
3 touchdowns last week, guys.
On 3 catches.
Just wait till it comes back to another.
You're gonna have that. He had that high touchdown percentage last year with Purdy too, and the touchdowns come in spurts, guys. So hopefully we could ride the wave, and maybe he gets another one this week. Mike, I'm sorry to do this to you, but let's talk this Cleveland Browns offense with PJ Walker as the starting quarterback now. Yeah, do we trust any of his pass catchers here, man? Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. Or these guys sits with PJ Walker, who, might I add, lost his backup quarterback job to Tyson Bagent and Nathan Peterman this offseason.
So I do think that Amari Cooper is worth a flex with PJ Walker, and hear me out. 2 of the 3 games that... Oh, no. yeah, you're right, Davis. Browns offense. Now PJ Walker's going to be better than what's his acronym? DTR. He's going to be better than DTR because here's the thing. In 2 of the 3 games last year that PJ Walker was the full-time starter, DJ Moore, week 7 last year, had 19.6 fantasy points, wide receiver 25. Week 8, DJ Moore was wide receiver 12 with 27.5. And then the third week, he was wide receiver 60 with 6.9. So, like, 2 out of the 3 games, he was actually solid. And DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. I think Amari Cooper, talent-wise, is as good as DJ Moore. Maybe not in the same prime as DJ Moore is right now, finally.
Mhm.
But I think PJ Walker can support one pass catcher here in a flex play. Ah, man. And did you ask your question about Jerome Ford? Because it's an easy yes.
No, I didn't. Go ahead.
Sit his ass on the bench this week. You don't play your fringe RBs against the 49ers. Like, if
Yeah.
you're playing Derrick Henry against the 49ers, all right, you play him because you know in the red zone he's going to get the touch. All right.
Or throw.
Exactly. Or throw. Like Eckler against the 49ers, yeah, you play his ass. But Jerome Ford, I mean, Nick Chubb against the 49ers, you would have played his ass. But Jerome Ford, I'm sitting against the Niners.
Amari Cooper, Deebo Samuel this week.
Amari Cooper.
I
would actually rather play Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper for me as well. Clean sweep. Next game we got here, New Orleans Saints taking on the Houston Texans. Ike, are we panicking on Chris Olave?
A little bit, yeah. Because
wee bit.
Before the game last week, they said he had an injury, and he still ended up playing his same amount of snaps as he has the previous 4 weeks. So you can't really say that he was injured. I mean, maybe he was dealing with something, but it's not like he took snaps off. But with Kamara back, Kamara has more catches than him in both games and has outscored him, except for that one touchdown, pretty much. But he's a risky wide receiver too now with Kamara back, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's not.
His targets have dropped from 10 to 5.5 with Kamara back.
That's wild. And I know, Mike, I listened to the show from last night, and Davis brought this up. And is Chris Olave, if we redraft, is he even a top 20 wide receiver now?
I mean, is it with the Derek Carr injury?
For the rest of the season, yep.
With Kamara back,
everything that we know right now, rest of the season, would we draft him as a top 20 wide receiver?
I think the injury affects it more than the Kamara thing. Like, yeah, we knew Kamara was going to take away from the volume there, but we loved the matchup with Derek Carr and Chris Olave. And if Carr isn't healthy to throw it deep, he would not be. He'd probably be that 6 to 8 round wide receiver type of deal for me.
Yeah, it's definitely don't love it. Don't get me wrong. He could still finish the season strong, but the odds are stacked up against him. No doubt. He is a fantastic player. So I don't want to just completely shit on him, but like I said, odds are stacked against him a bit.
Like Davis said, he's a talented player, but he's either getting yards or touchdowns in a game, and he's getting very little of each.
Yep.
I hear you. Mike, let's talk Texans. This is a tough matchup for CJ Stroud, but he's kind of everyone's pride and joy here as the rookie's looked really good. He's been the hot topic as a streaming quarterback. What about this week against the Saints?
Saints are 6 bets against QBs this year at 12.5 points a game, but they have been blessed with the QBs they've been able to face. But I was actually looking at it, and I was like, man, I want to say the stat, the Saints haven't allowed a QB1 this year, but I can't. Honestly. First QB, week 1, it was Tannehill, QB 31, awesome. Week 2, Bryce Young, QB 25, rookie, awesome. But then Jordan Love came along and dropped a QB 6 on their ass for some reason. That made no sense.
Everybody thought Jordan Love was awesome and an awesome streamer guy and stuff too.
But then you thought they'd rebound the next week against Baker Mayfield. Nope, they allowed Maker Mayfield to be a QB 8. So. Now, granted, he's got the weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I mean, Stroud's got weapons. I mean, he's got Dalton Schultz, he's starting to, get a little bit more confidence in. He's got Nico Collins, who I know you're going to ask me about. Tank Dell has been ruled out.
Yep.
But I did hear, I think Noah Brown came off the IR, and he might play. I doubt he'll play a full role, maybe more of a snap count, type of deal. But he's got weapons here. Stroud's probably the best quarterback these guys have played so far, or are going to play. And I know that's saying a lot because he's a rookie, over Mayfield, Love, Bryce Young, and Tannehill.
Yep.
But Stroud has by far looked the best out of all 5 of those guys.
Sure.
So far. Yeah, he had a down week last week. He's a rookie. It's going to happen.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All those other guys have had down weeks, multiple weeks. So, if anybody can do it, I think Stroud can do it. All right. I know it's a defensive, not defensive, a divisional game. Usually they know each other's play calls. Maybe they don't. D'Amico Ryan's new coach. Maybe they don't know the play calls there to where Stroud can take advantage of that. He's already played the Ravens and Steelers defense, who are much better than the Saints.
Sure. And then let's talk about his number one target. He brought up he has good weapons, and that's Nico Collins. He's kind of an odds evens kind of guy.
Oh, John Mechie too.
He's been really, really, really good. And then weeks where he's given you 5, 6, 7 points, which hasn't been ideal. How do you feel he's going to do in this matchup against the Saints?
I'm just going to plant my flag on it and say, fuck it. Start Nico. Watch him torch Lattimore. I don't think Lattimore is what he used to be. All right. We saw it with Mike Evans against him and Baker Mayfield. I really thought he was going to take advantage of that psychological matchup. And if he can't even get in Mike Evans' head anymore, I think that Nico Collins is a young gun. They like to throw it deep to him. I don't think Lattimore can keep up with Nico, and I think Nico gets behind him a couple times. The safeties aren't great in New Orleans. It's that defensive line that everyone's afraid of. So I love Nico. I think he goes off this week.
You heard it here, everybody. Nico Collins is going off per Michael Plant fantasy receipts. Make sure you come at him if it doesn't work out. Next game we got here, Indianapolis Colts taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ike, starting with you. JT comes back last week, and it's the Zach Moss show. JT saw 6 carries. What do we do with him this week after seeing that? Do you expect him to be more involved in the offense in this matchup?
And I'm not really sure because they don't.
Answer,
why
yeah.
do you want to rush him back? Why rush him
scared
back?
Him. You scared him with the fantasy receipt shit, so now he's going, I'm not sure.
I'm just saying, why rush him back when Zach Moss looks like what he is? I mean, he's been an RB1 pretty much every time he's started the game. So you can work Jonathan Taylor into shape. So until he starts seeing more carries, more snaps, I would not be starting him at all.
When Jonathan Taylor was at his peak, he was getting 20, 25 carries, and that's just not going to be the case yet. He might as the season progresses, especially if they stay in it with the loss of Anthony Richardson. They're going to need to rely on their running backs to run the ball more. But I'm kind of with you, like right now, and after what we saw last week, I don't love it. Like if you have better options, I'm almost more willing.
Why
to
risk it right now? You just paid him so he can have a long career, and if Zach Moss is doing what he's doing, just go for it.
Who would you rather start this week, Zach Moss or Jonathan Taylor? If you have him,
Zach Moss.
LaPlante, you as well.
Yeah, I mean Zach Moss. Matthew Berry said it earlier today. It's like Zach Moss has been just absolutely outstanding so far with the workload he's been given, and there's a respect thing in the locker room here. If you just go back and give it all to Jonathan Taylor right now, there's a chance you could lose the locker room.
Sure.
Because, you're just basically giving it to the name and the guy who, just got paid the contract, where I look at it and it's like, no matter what, I think it's going to be a committee from here on out the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And it's not like Jonathan Taylor looked great on his carries anyway. So obviously there's rust there.
Yeah, definitely needs to shake off the rust. But let me tell you someone who doesn't look rusty, and that's Josh Downs. Week 3, last time Gardner Minshew started a game for this Colts team, Josh Downs saw 12 targets. What do you expect from him in this matchup against the Jaguars? Do you think he's worth a start? Because he was a hot commodity on the waiver wire this week.
I totally forgot that Gardner started that game because since week 3, Downs has more fantasy points than the alpha Michael Pittman of the offense. 33. It's 33-30, but still He has more. But since week 2, he has more yards also than Michael Pittman. So I don't know. You might be seeing a shift in the change of who's the real number one in this offense.
He's pretty good.
It also helps
very
that he's
solid.
more dynamic than Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman literally can catch the ball and take it 1 yard. That's it.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa!
except for that
He took a
screen.
screen.
Definitely a guy
Yeah,
who
he
can
took a
catch
screen.
it.
Except for that screen, which was once in a galaxy type thing.
Yeah, Downs is definitely quick, shifty, smaller type of guy, but yeah, he is
He's
definitely
a flex
fun
option.
once he gets the ball in his hands, and I agree as well. Definitely a flex option, and I definitely these pass catchers intrigue me a bit more with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback because he's really thriving in this Shane Steichen offense. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch moving forward. Mike, let's jump over to the Jacksonville Jaguars side of things.
Before we do that, we got to answer this question, my man. You've been ignoring me the whole time in the private chat. Like, just like we got fans here asking us questions, my man. I know, but we're gonna take a quick little sidebar here. All right, he needs to start 2 receivers and a flex, 3/4 PPR. St. Brown, Hollywood Brown, Rashad White, Thielen, and Calvin Ridley. He's already leaning St. Brown, Thielen, and Ridley.
Nailed
That's
it.
correct. That's where you go. Yep.
Yeah, with the matchup with Rashad White against the Lions, not good. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
We'll be
that is
talking
correct.
about Thielen too. So
yeah, trust your gut with St. Brown, Thielen, and Ridley. Those are the ones you want to start. And then Connor did have one here real quick. Are you starting Zach Moss or Jerome Ford? Full point PPR.
Well,
Zach
easy
Moss,
for me
for
too.
sure.
Yeah, give me Zach Moss. Yep.
Zach Moss is correct. All right.
Brutal matchup for Jerome Ford.
And then just real quick here, Jelly of the Month. Hold Jeff Wilson on IR, no IR spot in league. All right. Or drop for Downs. Jeff Wilson is going to be coming off IR this week, just so you know. I'll be talking about that a little bit later in our matchup. So
drop for Downs, it's 4 wide receiver.
If you got it sounds like your wide receivers are not very good. If you got JSN as wide receiver 5, so yeah, it all depends on the state of your wide receivers.
He should definitely be started if you're a 4 wide receiver league, for sure.
God damn, that's a lot of wide receivers.
All
right,
I would love it.
Go ahead, pull that one.
Yep. Foreman, Amari Cooper, or Scary Terry for full point PPR.
Give me Deonta Foreman. I'm definitely not. I don't hate Amari Cooper, Mike. After you brought up the stuff about PJ Walker being
with more.
The only issue with that is PJ Walker's been in Cleveland for 10 minutes, and he was in Carolina for
Joshua Dobbs
2
has been
years
in
as well. Yeah, but he's a rocket scientist, man.
Oh no, I want to see the certificate.
But I don't mind Amari here, but give me Deonta Foreman.
Yeah, it's close. Foreman.
Man, I gotta go Amari because Deontay Foreman's not gonna catch balls.
It's totally fair.
Yeah, but I still think Foreman has a better touchdown chance than Amari Cooper does.
That's fair.
So I lean Foreman with that one. That is close though. If you wanted to go Amari or Foreman, I wouldn't argue with you.
Just don't go Terry.
Yeah, just don't go Scary Terry. You're right. But yeah, if you wanted to go Foreman or Amari, you could go either way with it. It's very narrow, and I'm sure projections would say that as well. But we're leaning Foreman.
Yep.
All right. Back to the Jacksonville Jags.
All right, Mike. What is your view on Trevor Lawrence this week in a matchup against the Colts?
I like it.
Easy
Colts
one.
defense are allowing the 3rd most pass yards to offenses. But the weird thing is they're real stingy through the air getting into the end zone. Only 5 touchdowns through the air and allowing 7 on the ground. So it seems like, once teams are passing in between the 20s, once they get in the red zone, they're just running the ball in for touchdowns. So it's kind of, it's leaving Trevor Lawrence hung out to dry here a little bit for all you Trevor Lawrence believers. I am included in there.
Take Bigsby kind of week with one or two touchdowns
an ETN week,
in the red
if anything.
zone, huh?
It's an ETN kind of week, if anything. ETN is taking the full workload here. But here's some positive things. He's already played the Colts. He played him week 1. Had the best game he had all year. 17.7 fantasy points. And granted, it's not over 20, which is what we're looking for. But he just needs more touchdowns. One more touchdown in that game, and he's over 20, and it changes the outcome completely. All right, he's tied for 17th right now with those 5 passing touchdowns. It's not good. To give you just some context, 4 QBs that have more passing touchdowns than Trevor Lawrence right now. Jimmy Garoppolo, Joshua Dobbs, Sam Howell, and Baker Mayfield.
It's coming. touchdown regression is coming in a positive way. I think that's
We
what
hope.
you're getting at, right? Yep.
Yeah, we hope. We hope so. Because the yards are there. I mean, he's lacking out about 2-3 touchdowns.
Yep. And then Zay Jones ruled out. Christian Kirk, absolute bust start now with that news, correct?
Say that one more time. I was reading Jamie's comments here. Did
Zay
they play the Colts week 1? Ridley had a big game. Yes, you are correct, Jamie.
You know who didn't have a big game week 1? That was Christian Kirk. But with Zay
Yeah, it
Jones
was.
out of the lineup, are you comfortable starting
Yes.
Christian Kirk this week?
Anytime Zay Jones is out of the lineup, I think Christian Kirk's a solid wide receiver 3.
Right on. Next game we got here, man, this one's probably going to be over in the first 10 minutes of the game. Carolina Panthers, Miami Dolphins, guys. Ike, how high do you have old man Adam Thielen ranked this week? Is he's just plugging away every week, seeing double-digit targets, just out there doing his thing.
Wide receiver 17, and it's weird.
Yeah, he hates it.
4 straight games is a wide receiver 2 or better. It includes 2 wide receiver 1 finishes. He's averaging 11 targets, 9 catches, 95.5 yards during that span, and he's the wide receiver 3 during it. So I don't know what's going on, but start him with full confidence. Start him as wide receiver 2, start him as wide receiver 3. If you have him as a flex, bully for you.
I'm trying to look. I'm looking over.
Is this the time where the league comes in with a drug test? Like,
yeah,
what's going on here?
I mean, they have to throw so much, and you got to throw a lot playing Dolphins. So,
yeah, yep. And like you kind of segued to it. Like Miles Sanders is out this week. We have Chuba Hubbard, but you just said they're probably going to have to throw a ton to stay in this game and try to battle back. So everyone's kind of rushed into the waiver wire to pick up Chuba Hubbard right now and starting him. Are you okay doing that, or are you kind of shying away? And could this be more of a regime or Blackshear type of game, as he is the prototypical pass catching back in this?
I'd rather have Hubbard over Blackshear, but
sure, yeah.
I think if you're in,
can we have neither? Is that an option?
10 teamers, you shouldn't be starting Hubbard. I mean, 12 teamers, he's borderline flex.
You have to in 12 teamers with how running backs are right now.
Yeah, running backs are pretty. Like I'd want Deontay Foreman over him. I would want Zach Moss over him, and I'd maybe Jonathan Taylor, just because I like to hope he'd get more work this week. But that's iffy.
Yeah.
I don't worry about that.
Those are hopes. Hopes don't always work out.
Mike, let's head over to the Miami Dolphins.
I'm glad you gave me the fun team to talk about.
We definitely love this offense here, but we lost one of their guys. We lost Devon Achane for the rest of the season, but Jeff Wilson was ruled doubtful this week, so it looks like it's going to be the Savon Ahmed and Raheem Mostert show. But with Jeff Wilson looking like he's coming back, he was activated off IR. Is he worth a pickup now with Achane missing some time?
Duh. I mean, yeah. I mean, this is an explosive as hell offense. They're supporting 2 top 3 running backs right now, and one just went to the IR. Didn't play the full. I mean, he wasn't even really involved in the first game very much, and then this last game, he probably got hurt and didn't get as much work as they expected to give him. So yeah, you pick him up. He's rosterable, depending on if you got a spot to roster him. No, I did hear he's going to
make a spot for him.
Yeah, you could probably make a spot for him. I did hear he's going to be on a snap count though the first game back. So fire up Mostert with confidence and reap the benefits, because Carolina is not good against the run. Yep. But yeah, with this offense, the next game they play, if Wilson's not on the snap count, he's a good flex play with high upside on this offense. 2 touchdown upside. Because at any point they can just get in the red zone and hand it off to Jeff Wilson. Both Mostert and Achane were scoring 21 fantasy points a game. Like it's a plug and play offense, just kind of like Kyle Shanahan's QBs. It kind of feels like right now.
Jamie's got a good question here. Let's jump back to the Chuba Hubbard conversation. Would you start him over Deonta Foreman this week? Panthers target the RBs most in the NFL, and I see them playing catch up all day. Give me Foreman here. Like I said,
still going Foreman.
I'm still going Foreman. Yes,
sloppy gameplay. I really do see a big play coming out of him this week.
I think they target the running back because they're familiar and comfortable with Miles Sanders. I don't know if they're going to be comfortable with Hubbard. Like, there's a comfort level when you're passing to the running backs.
Like Dylan said, it could be Blackshear, so I don't want to.
I mean, Jamie does say Hubbard has been
that,
playing 80% of the snaps in the two-man offense, which I assume that's where like Blackshear would be playing. Granted, this was with Sanders though.
I was gonna say I'm curious to see if now Blackshear steps into that role,
takes that role,
because Hubbard's on in early downs. That's gonna be interesting. Definitely something interesting to monitor in this matchup with this week. Next game we got here, the Detroit Lions taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, let's talk about the good. You talk about the good offense here. Let's talk about the Lions. But it's not. I didn't really give you a awesome question. We're talking about someone being droppable. Jameson Williams, is he droppable after what we've seen so far?
10 teamers almost like, please do it right now. This is funny because when I was doing this. Last week he played 47% of his snaps, saw 3 targets, caught 2 of them for like 3 yards or whatever it was. That was a career high in snaps, a career high in targets, a career high in catches, but not yards because he had 1 catch last year where he caught one for 51 yards.
It was a touchdown.
Right now you can pretty much label him a bust until he starts actually staying healthy and doing something.
It's definitely,
we haven't seen him in enough games healthy enough though to label him.
7 games. It's only been 7 games right now, but you should be getting targeted more than this.
Scary start to his career is pretty much what needs to be said right now. And yeah, I don't think that he needs to be rostered. I don't think this is the year for him. I think Dan Campbell likes his guys. He likes Josh Reynolds. He likes Khalif Raymond. Amon-Ra St. Brown is back. I don't think Jameson Williams fits into the offense this year. I think he might be a better dynasty option. And
Goff
next year and moving
never
forward.
really liked to throw deep that much. So
loves the tight ends. That's the reason Laporta's going off.
Yes,
outside
it was good
of him
to see.
Just being really good too.
It was good to see Laporta fully practice with that calf injury, so he should be good to go for this weekend as well. Mike, let's look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and let's talk Rachaad White here. This isn't the Lions defense of old, man, where you could just gouge him on the run over and over again. And Rachaad White is only finished as the top 20.
Yeah, they bite kneecaps now.
Once this season, they definitely do bite kneecaps, that's for sure. Are we just about out on Rachaad White? Because he's the guy in the backfield, man. But like I said, just one top 20 finish this season.
You're not out on any running back that is the guy in a backfield. Like any RB1 for their team right now, you will gladly roster. Now, starting is a different story. Now, if you got good options, like some people do, sit them on the bench. But if you don't have good options, you're still starting Rachaad White. It's just not a very good matchup this week. Lions are 3rd best against running backs. Now, the interesting thing is, though, like Rachaad White is a pass-catching back, all right? And this is what I was kind of getting at before, like when it comes to somebody catching all their targets. Like White is 20th in rushing attempts right now, which is great. Great RB2 volume. 26th in targets for running backs, which needs to go up. This man has 13 targets and 13 receptions. He has caught every single ball thrown his way so far through 5 games. All right. And he's the only running back with 13 plus targets that has caught every single one. So, like, pass the fucking ball more to Rachaad White, Baker Mayfield, because he's catching every single ball. He's probably, man, he's got to be one of the safest guys to have as a safety blanket right now, outside of, like, Laporta. Just because, like, he's catching everything. He hasn't dropped one. I mean, it's short passes, and Rachaad White came into the league as a pass-catching back. So, like, just pass him the ball more. Like, so you're starting him this week, hoping that happens because of the Lions' D-line, possibly getting to Baker quickly, and he's got to get rid of the ball fast. Mike Evans is going to play with that hamstring injury, but he did log enough practices to, get the go-ahead. But he's like T. Higgins, where when he plays and he's injured, you like decoy trap warning type of deal. And honestly, I mean, Mike Evans is on a great pace for 1,000 yards already. He can sit out a game.
Yeah, let's just hope the hamstring doesn't act up. Like it's a totally different injury than what Higgins has.
That's what I'm afraid of with Mike Evans. Like, honestly, guys, if
he's had a hamstring injury before.
I would try to find a different option this week, even though Mike Evans is playing, because if he just one tweak of it, one bad hit, he's going to be out. And like, I really do personally think he's just going to be a decoy out there. It's a great decoy to have.
Yeah. And the Higgins stuff is probably just like pain tolerance for him, right? Because if you take a shot in the ribs, it's probably going to hurt like hell.
Big time.
But with him fully practicing today, it's obviously he's not getting hit. But as soon as he gets hit in the ribs, that's also interesting with Higgins too. So that's two guys this weekend who are definitely need to monitor.
Yeah, hard to predict on, like, you know, if you got solid options, you just play the solid option. But it's like if it's like Josh Downs or Mike Evans, or, you know, I'm probably going Mike Evans. If it's like T. Higgins or Josh Downs, I'm more worried about T. Higgins' injury than the hamstring, so it'd be Downs for me in that situation.
That's the opposite for me, actually. That's the opposite for me. But
you got T. Higgins over Downs?
On. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm more worried about the hamstring. So let's jump into the afternoon games, guys, shall we? And this is an outstanding barn burner here. We got Bill Belichick taking on Josh McDaniels, the New England Patriots, heading over to Las Vegas. Ike, Ramondre Stevenson, do we need to get his tombstone ready, or is he going to be pulling his hand from underneath the grave
is Halloween,
and come back to life? Exactly. You like how I pulled that in there?
He actually should come back to life this week because he should be in a competitive game against the Raiders.
Undertaker meme.
When he's in competitive games, he averages 12 points a game. When he's getting blown out,
what do you consider a competitive game?
That's one where he's not getting blown out. Because when he's getting blown out, he's averaging 4 points a game. So you can't you can't predict that. Obviously, you can't predict the blowout.
I could make the argument that this offense has been blown out in every single game except that Eagles game for the most part.
But at least it's not by 30 plus points to where you're just, what do you do at that point?
Score even 3 points, guys. How do you not score 3 points in the NFL?
I wasn't watching this game, but every time they threw it out in red zone, it was just Mac Jones was just throwing a 25-yard go route to Devontae Parker, just a one-on-one, just toss it up and
that is one thing. This is
for the best.
Catch it. I'm like
okay. Mac Jones' weapons aren't the greatest. It's you can make an argument that Hunter Henry is his best passing weapon right now.
It's totally gross. This whole offense is brutal. Zeke's brutal,
which does not help Ramondre. Doesn't
super random stat though. Ramondre's actually averaging more targets per game through the first 5 games this year than he was last year.
I noticed that when I got the question last week because I was going to talk about it. I'm like, man, he's even getting a decent
maybe
amount
he just
of
takes a little bit to ramp up. Maybe training camp was brutal.
It was the efficiency.
The
efficiency is brutal this year for him compared to last year. Is he still at 2.7 yards a carry? I
think so. Yeah, it's not great.
It's atrocious. It's atrocious.
It also doesn't help that Mac Jones looks illiterate.
Yeah, getting there.
He could probably read. He went to college, but he's illiterate when it comes to reading a defense. We'll give him that.
Oh, man. Jumping over to the other side, that's the Las Vegas Raiders. Mike, Jacoby Myers.
Shocker.
Revenge game written all over it. I don't know if you guys heard, Bill Belichick. This was before it said that, they wanted Jacoby Myers back, and then Jacoby Myers camp came out and said, you guys didn't try to re-sign me. It's the same contract that they gave Juju Smith-Schuster. Jacoby Myers signed in Las Vegas. It's crazy. And Mike, I'm going to steal your stat. He's wide receiver 20 right now. Is he a must start this week and moving forward?
I hate you for stealing that
shit. I quoted you. I gave you credit.
Pat yourself on the back. But wide receiver 15 in fantasy points per game, that was more shocking, honestly. Because that's the one that's more important than just wide receiver 20 on the year.
Yeah, he missed the game, dickhead.
Exactly. But still, wide receiver 15 still fucking really good and is not expected for the number 2 option in the Raiders offense with Jimmy Garoppolo. But here's the thing that I found kind of cool. Fantasy data looked at contested rate on catches. There's a 50% contested rate on catches for Devontae Adams right now, which is 31st in the league. So he's getting the 31st most attention as a wide receiver, basically. All right. And then, or not attention, but basically, he's getting open or he's, you know what I mean? Like if you want to be low on this chart, basically, because that means you're wide fucking open. You know, just to give you some context, Tyreek Hill, he's always open, right? He's got a 25% contested rate on his catches. So over double for Devontae Adams, which just means, you know, he makes a lot of contested catches. He's not, you know, getting open a lot. But the reason I'm bringing this up, though, is because Myers is at 33.3, 55th for wide receivers. All right. That's only pretty much 7% more than Tyreek Hill. So if we're talking numbers here, which I love numbers, Hill's only open 7% more than Jacoby Myers is through 5 weeks. And that's kind of ridiculous because one runs a 4.2 40 and one is just getting open because of the coverage on Devontae Adams. Like he's just taking so much attention away that Jacoby Myers is just burning the other guy one-on-one, and he's getting open, and Jimmy Garoppolo's finding him. So he's a must start. Like I consider him more wide receiver 3, even though he's a wide receiver 2 right now, because I think it'll even out towards the back end of the year.
Yep. I agree 100% there. Next game, we got the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Like, James Conner goes down. Are we interested in starting? Is it Imari DeMarcado?
So Jamie's trying to coin a nickname for Mercado, and we're gonna call him Dr. Mercado.
All right, I can dig that, Dr. Mercado. Ike, you digging him, or are you out?
Out. Sorry, that's all I need to say. I'm sorry.
On the nickname or the player?
I like the nickname. The nickname's cool. You're not going to need to use the nickname because, for one, Keontae's starting to practice and the dude's going to take his starting spot like that. So,
all right, yeah, that's totally fair.
Don't start him. I don't know why you would.
You think Ingram's going to take it?
I think Ingram is supremely more talented than Mr. or Dr. Mercado, whatever his name is.
And I won't argue with that. I'll just give you this then. If he is, why was he inactive and Mercado was
he had a neck injury, bro.
Correct, he's hurt.
Okay, I was not aware of that because I'm only paying attention to injuries to fantasy relevant players.
No, that's totally fair. Mike, let me throw this at you. Hollywood Brown's a little bit dinged up, questionable. I think last time I saw
finger.
Rondale Moore, Michael Wilson this week interest you at all, or are those guys just stay aways for you as well?
Rondale Moore would be sweet. He saw
a lot of waiver
carries,
man.
3 carries, 40 some odd yards. That was pretty cool. He might actually be the number 1 running back now.
He saw 5 targets last week. I want to say 2.
I mean, he's a gadget guy though. That's what he is. So, like, I mean, are you playing gadget guys in the flex?
At times, sure. With all the injuries,
if you're desperate, play him in the flex.
If you have a kicker who dropped 20+ points, why not?
That's fantastic. Oh man. Next guy. No, go ahead, Mike. What are you gonna?
I was just gonna say Michael Wilson. I think he's all right. He's talented, but he is kind of like Jameson Williams, where he's either gonna bust or boom. So like you can't start him.
Totally.
Just Marquise Brown.
Looking at the Rams side of things, how are we feeling with this entire offense, Mike? I know you absolutely love total open-ended questions, so I absolutely adore giving them to you. So
you give me crap questions.
How do you feel about this offense as a whole with the return of Cooper Kupp, who just felt like he had 6 catches in the first 5 minutes of the game last week?
I love it. I mean, Matthew Stafford loves to feed his wide receivers. Puka was wide receiver 11 last week. Kupp was 12. I love these two for the rest of the season. I've been trying to get Kupp from Ike for fucking ever, but the goddamn greedy prick won't trade him. So I'm targeting somebody else. So we got possibly 2 wide receiver 1s for the rest of the season in this offense. Like Kupp is talented enough to become a wide receiver 1, even with missing those amount of games.
Here's the thing. This week too.
It is a good matchup, but here's the thing. Because they played the Eagles last week, they were pretty much down, for the most part. They were passing it the whole time, making Kyron Williams the odd man out. Not a great finish. I believe it was an RB 35 finish, if I remember correctly. But the biggest thing is with Kupp back, the targets went away for Kyron Williams. Only 2 last week. Weeks 1 through 4, he had 22. That's a little over 5 a week. It got chopped more than half, like 55%.
He'll have better days though.
He will, because when the game script favors him in a neutral or positive, way, because the Rams offense is better than we expected.
Yeah, 100%.
Which in a game like this, I wouldn't be shocked if maybe they're, back and forth with the Cardinals or even ahead against the Cardinals to where Kyron Williams is a little bit more involved this week.
I think it hurts Higbee more than anything. Higbee's not going to see the 11 targets he saw 2 weeks ago. No chance.
Agreed.
5 he'll probably max out at.
Yeah. No, he'll be touchdown dependent, which,
yeah.
I mean, what tight end isn't?
Yep, no doubt. Next game we got here, guys, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on Zach Wilson and the New York Jets. Ike, is every one of this Eagles offense in the circle of trust, or are you pretty worried about Devonta Smith? I know
you and your circle of trust, Fokker.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
Goddard finally bust out last week. So I'm curious your thoughts here on these guys.
All right, so obviously Jalen Hurts is a guy. Don't got to worry about that. Don't got to worry about A.J. Brown. Don't have to worry about DeAndre Swift anymore, especially with how bad running backs are. Dude's getting an elite workload now. He's seeing 22.2 touches per game. He's doing.
It's the 15 plus points a game just in PPR that is what I like the most. He has such a safe floor right now.
Yeah, and leave it to the Eagles to be able to figure out how to use a running back that the Lions just totally failed with, which they're going to do with Jahmyr Gibbs too. So anyways, different story for that. Goddard, you should have been starting him every week anyways. He still saw a decent amount of targets, just he's finally being used more. But like we said, I'm pretty sure at the start of the year, or me and LaPlante have said for a while, it seems like Goddard and Smith are going to switch off between weeks on who's going to do good and who's not. So deciding between that's not going to be fun. Can't wait for Gibbs. That's pretty good.
It's a vicious cycle. Howie Rose taking advantage.
All these guys have to be started. You just have to. You just can't take it off that good of an offense.
Yeah, Devonta Smith's got to figure it out, man, because if you waited on the wide receiver position in drafts, Devonta Smith is probably one of the guys who you settled on.
I feel like I'm being targeted right now. I feel like I'm being targeted.
If you want to take it personally, go ahead.
Look, he's not going to be a wide receiver 1 this year.
For me.
He's not going to be a wide receiver 1. More like a wide receiver.
How dare you?
15 to 24. He's mid wide receiver 2.
I will say this, and I wanted to say this last night when they were talking about Devonta Smith. This didn't happen until A.J. Brown had his hissy fit. He was doing well.
But that's what happens when you're the alpha.
Diva receivers just have to do it. Jamar Chase, he was pissed off too, and then he goes out and just gets absolutely bombarded with targets.
I know you guys played Madden with me, and if anybody else played Madden, you know what I'm talking about here. Devonta Smith needs to pull the frustrated receiver right now so he gets the targets. Actually, this week is a good week for Devonta Smith, in my opinion. You're going to have Sauce Gardner all over A.J. Brown. I think Sauce has the speed to stay with A.J. Brown for the most part. Maybe he gets by him a few times, but I think it's a get right for Devonta Smith game.
I hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, looking at the Jets offense, let's talk about Breece Hall here after a fantastic week last week. Do we expect a top 12 week from him once again in this matchup against the Eagles?
I expect the top 12. Oh, go ahead.
Without Jalen Carter. I just wanted to add that.
Oh, that one doesn't matter, but that one is a little intriguing to see it without Jalen Carter because he has been phenomenal.
Sorry, they got Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it don't matter. That D line is just absolutely fucking loaded. I expect it. Yep. We can go on to Hassan Reddick.
Brandon Graham.
He's a linebacker, but it don't even matter at this point. I expect the top 12 workload from Breece Hall, like we saw last week. We loved what we saw last week. That's what we expect to see from him, when he finally got healthy off of the ACL tear. Third most touches last week in week 5, 25 total, 22 rushes, 3 receptions, tied with Kamara and Jacobs. But with that being said, this matchup is not fun. Eagles allow the second most fantasy points to running backs at 12.3 a game. I did the math. I looked at the rushing
Second
yards.
least, right? Second fewest fantasy points per
Yeah.
game. You said second most. Yeah.
Oh,
Just
I
wanted
did.
to clear
I wrote
that.
it down.
Yeah,
You're
second.
I'm not a
least.
writer. I'm not a writer, and I direct people to Ron Burgundy.
Producer Mike.
Yep. But so yeah, second least to running backs. Now I did the math on the total yards that the Eagles have allowed on the ground, and they're allowing 61.2 rushing yards per game to running backs on the ground. That's like the Niners last year.
Could be worse.
It could be a lot better.
I don't like what you're saying. I just hope he falls in the end zone.
Yeah. The one touchdown that they get.
If he gets some targets, it'll definitely help.
But have they versed a running back this explosive, though, that can just house one from 70 yards out for no reason?
That's the whole thing about the Eagles defense. They don't allow a house call.
Yeah.
Not unless
at least on the ground.
calls.
At least on the ground. Through the air is where they've been susceptible this year. They
Starting,
have been not great.
Especially tight end.
Yep. You're starting Brees Hall, tempering expectations a bit. Let's get to the night games, fellas. We got Sunday Night Football. Probably going to be watching something else other than Sunday Night Football. We got the New York Giants taking on the Buffalo Bills, the Tyrod Taylor-led New York Giants. And Ike, we saw Darren Waller.
Can they flex this what?
No, they can't.
Come on.
Last week must have been the tight end breakout week. We had Dallas Goedert. We had Kyle Pitts. We had Darren Waller. Are we back feeling comfortable with Darren Waller, even with Tyrod Taylor as his quarterback, who, let's be real, he's pretty competent.
He already answered this question before. He'd rather start Logan Thomas than Darren Waller, I think.
But you still have to start him in leagues because tight ends just suck, man. And he's getting the work. He's seeing 6.8 targets per game, 3 games with 7+, and he's tight end 9 right now. So with how bad he's been doing, he's still tight end 1. So
yep. Yeah, no, I hear you there. And if Saquon's back, you're starting him. But everybody else in this offense, yeah. Looking at the Buffalo side of things, Mike, looking at
another good offense.
James Cook was not good
last week
in London. Yeah, -4 yards on like 3-4 carries. Just was totally not in this game plan. Very, very, very weird. Was that something to worry about, or was that just kind of a one-off thing here for James Cook?
I mean, I hope you're not worrying about it because this was the risk you ran drafting a Bills running back, going into drafts this year, because at any point they could just say, you know what, fuck it, we're abandoning the run game, which is exactly what they did last week. Like, they just said, you know what, we're just going to pass it, and honestly, it gave them a better chance. Like, there are going to be some games like that where they're just going to abandon the running game. Now, here's the thing, though. Weeks 1 through 4, it worked. Running the fucking ball worked. They were winning. They lost a close one on a punt return week 1 against the Jets. I mean, easily could have been their game, though. So, running the ball works, and I hope Sean McDermott is smart enough to realize that, and it was just kind of like a one-off here last week because of them being a little sluggish in Buffalo, in London. I didn't think they'd be sluggish, because they were red hot going to London. I said it last week, and I was wrong, but they were sluggish.
Show up and leave on Friday.
True. That was just straight up just dumb. But you got to give Cook at least 12 rushes a game. That's what he's been doing. And that's, when he's been getting that, he has been relevant. He only got 5 last week.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Because here's the positive thing. I always gave you shit about him in the red zone. He finally caught up in the red zone with all the other running backs. He's tied for first in RBs for red zone touches with Latavius Murray at 8. So,
that's good to see.
Some more. Yeah, he's getting some more value, and it's just he needs to run the ball more than 5 times a game.
It's just good to see that they're not taking him off the field when they get in the red zone. It pretty much just depends on which running back's in on that drive who's going to get the red zone carries, which that's fine because we weren't expecting James Cook to get the red zone carries. That's right. And I know we got a couple questions here in the comments, but let's just get through one more game, and then we'll blast through those last couple comments. The Monday Night Football game, guys, this is a better game. Take Sunday night off, watch the Monday Night Football game because we got the Dallas Cowboys
Ike, we got a poll.
taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Ike, solid matchup for this Cowboys offense after they just had a brutal week against the 49ers. And that includes quarterback Dak Prescott, who is just awful, throwing 3 interceptions. But anyways, do you have confidence in starting him this week? Is he a top 12 guy in this matchup?
this is the week you want to start him. If he does not have a good week this week, it's pretty much every week you shouldn't be starting him because Chargers allow on average most yards to quarterbacks, and which is 320 plus. Plus, I mean, I don't know what Dak's doing on offense, but they need to figure it out. CD is doing bad, so they need to figure that out, and this is their get-right game. I feel like
McCarthy's beautiful passing offense. That's what it is.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb had a little bit of powwow apparently this week, so maybe they got they're locked in together now. Like, I also didn't put this on the show sheet, but I want to pick your brain here a little bit here about Tony Pollard, who thrived off efficiency the first couple years of his career with Zeke in the backfield, but this year has been the total opposite. One of the least efficient running backs in the league. Do you expect that to get better moving forward, or and you feel like this is the product of him breaking his damn leg last year, or do you think
I think it is because
this year?
I think he lost a little bit of explosiveness. It
He
also
would
doesn't help
disagree with you.
offense doesn't look great. With the offense not looking great either, it's probably both compounding each other to just making it look bad for him. I figure it's going to get better as he starts working more and more and getting the rust off, though.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Not what you expected. It's not going to be an RB5 season or whatever you drafted in that.
And then I'm assuming Michael Gallup can be rostered, is fine, but Brandon Cook's droppable. He's legitimately done nothing this year.
Honestly, I would rather not have either of them on my team in 10-teamers.
Totally
Brandon
fair.
Cook should have been dropped already.
Yep. Mike, let's talk Chargers now. Are you comfortable starting Joshua Palmer? Obviously, Mike Williams is on IR for the rest of the season with the ACL injury. Joshua Palmer kind of sliding in, or do you expect more from the rookie Quentin Johnson this week?
No. No. I like Palmer as a sneaky wide receiver. I was just trying to no. Just no. I like Palmer as a sneaky wide receiver 3, high upside flex this week. Gilmore's going to be on Keenan Allen, leaving Palmer to whoever the fuck is over there on the other side for the Cowboys cornerbacks.
Darren Bland.
Yeah, he's very bland. So Palmer, shut up. You're a dad. You should have appreciated that joke.
I didn't.
You are not the father. So last week, Joshua Palmer was on the field more than Keenan Allen. Or not last week. My apologies. I knew I was going to fuck this up. They had a bye week last week. Week 4, Palmer was on the field more than Keenan Allen, 86.2% to Keenan Allen's. Oh, man, I wrote it down incorrectly. But I just know it was more. That's why I wrote it down. It was like 77%, I believe it was. But I will check that up when we're doing the questions. And Palmer saw more targets, 8-5. Like, Keenan got the touchdown, which is awesome. We love that. We love touchdowns in fantasy. But Joshua Palmer is the clear number 2 in this offense. And until Quentin Johnson has some breakout games, he's going to stay on track for the second half wide receiver breakout.
Totally fair. And then I want to talk to you about Herbert here. We saw him go down before the bye week. His non-throwing hand fractured a finger on there. Last year, we saw him battle through injuries with the rib injuries. Are you worried about his non-throwing hand affecting things, or is it just going to go on like nothing happened?
All right, so let me just say this. Last year, Herbert finished as QB 11 with broken ribs. All right, he's got a problem with his non-throwing hand. He's a lock for a top 10 finish this year. Why are you even worried? It was broken ribs last year, and he was already a QB1. If it's his non-throwing hand, I'm worried he re-injures it. Don't get me wrong, but it's his non-throwing hand.
Yeah, sure.
So, no, I'm not really worried too much at all. Like, they have design plays. They already talked about it where they're going to have design plays mostly out of the shotgun, but they will have design plays where he's taking snaps under center.
Okay.
And
I was wondering if they were going to be able to do stuff under center.
They said they planned on it, but I mean, that could be a smoke show as well. Maybe they say that for the defense to plan against it and they don't even do it. Sure. I mean, it could be a smoke show.
No doubt. But
I'm not worried.
Like I said, we had a couple questions that wraps up our week 6 game previews. Just pull up this one. What's up? Pick one wide receiver and flex. Garrett Wilson, Tyler Lockett, Zay Flowers, Joe Mixon, Joshua Palmer.
Zay Flowers has to be in there. That's what I'm stamping on. Tennessee Titans are allowing.
Is he your
a
wide
lot to
receiver
wide
or your
receivers.
flex?
Well, that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter because my other picks
What do you
could be
mean?
wide
Wait,
receiver
what do you
too.
mean? What do you mean, Zay Flowers? Like what? Zay Flowers don't play the Titans, my man. He plays the Steelers.
No,
He
that
played the
was
Steelers last week, bro.
Yeah, Zay Flowers plays the
Oh crap! You're right. They're the London
Titans.
game.
Yep.
Titans, weird.
They're the London game. I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? You act like you're perfect.
How do you sit Joe Mixon is the problem.
You don't. I'd probably go Flowers in the wide receiver position and then Mixon in the flex.
Agreed.
Sitting Garrett Wilson's shit though, guys.
I mean, I would go. Yeah, Garrett. Well, it's not fun sitting Garrett Wilson here, but he's still being quarterbacked by Zach Wilson. Now, granted, Zach Wilson has looked better, but they haven't been really tough defenses.
I hear you.
Go look at what the Titans have allowed.
I'm between Palmer and Flowers for that wide receiver spot, in my opinion. If you want to play it risky, go ahead, play Lockett. But like I said, run first offense. And then mix and flex.
Next one. I have Kenneth Walker. Should I add Charbonnet in case Walker injuries? I mean, if you want, I'm not a huge
75%.
handcuffing. I'm not.
I mean, you get to drop Jameson Williams, so that's good.
But yeah, I'm not upset about dropping Jameson Williams or Quentin Johnston. So if you want to add Charbonnet to give yourself a little bit more insurance, I am okay with that.
I dropped Jameson over Quentin, though.
Yeah, if you got a droppable player like Williamson or Jameson Williams, drop him. Go get Charbonnet.
What's up, Albert? Gabe Davis, Jordan Addison, Brandon Ayuk. Pick 2 full PPR. Give me Jordan Addison, Brandon Ayuk here.
Yes, sir. Sit Gabe Davis. He got saved by a touchdown last week.
But that's Gabe Davis' shtick, man. But I hear you.
Temper your expectations on Ayuk, man. It's gonna be a tough game for him.
I'm tired of this Ayuk slander from you, man. I'm tired of it.
Last week he was in on it. The week before he was out. This week he's out. Make up your damn mind.
I mean, it goes by matchup.
That's fair.
Dumbass.
Would you trade?
We were all talking about him breaking out this year, being an alpha.
He's versing the Browns, man. They allow less than 150 yards a game.
Yeah, but it's the Niners. We're talking about like an offense that's averaging 30 points a game. So it's like the immovable force versus the unstoppable force.
Purdy's God, man. Purdy's freaking dirty Purdy.
No, I think the play calling is God.
Mike. Is this Devonta Smith's week now with DJ Reed being out and Sauce being on AJ Brown?
Jamie was talking about, are you worried about DJ Reed covering Devonta Smith? I think he's elite separator, but he and he can overcome it. But he's got Reed at QB cornerback 14, and he's only allowing 7.7 to wide receivers. But then Chaka comes in here with a DJ Reed is out this week, so like even more confidence in him.
Yeah,
but I still think that Devonta Smith can overcome Reed because if you look back at the offenses they've played, I mean, the wide receiver 2 in the offenses they've played haven't been as good as Devonta Smith. Like the outside, I think the best one has been Gabe Davis as they faced as a wide receiver 2 in an offense. I could be wrong. I needed to look up that schedule here because I wanted to get back to that. But I also got the snap count for Keenan Allen, 75.4. It was less than Josh Palmer, like I said.
Nice. Would you trade Lamar, Thielen, Moss for Purdy, Devonta Smith, and Ridley?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Without a doubt.
Make the trade.
Agreed.
Yeah, you obviously have good RBs if you're willing to trade Moss right now. Yeah, make the trade.
Moss is just a luxury for him, probably.
I'm still worried. I'm worried about Purdy. I don't think you guys I don't think he's rock solid as a QB. Top 10, 12. Top 12 guy. Because he did have to pass the ball. Like the Cowboys' run defense is good. So he benefited from that weak pass defense because of Trayvon Diggs being out. So,
but it's every week but one, man. He throws 2 touchdowns. It's just the solid floor.
I did say that. I was the one that told you that first. Like he always throws 2 touchdowns. I get it, but it is an option. It could be like that Arizona week where CMC ends up scoring 4, and if he doesn't get that touchdown to CMC from a pass, he's going to be in that 15 to 20 range.
Yeah, for sure. But guys, that wraps up our show. If we helped you out with any start sit questions, please smash that like button. Please subscribe if you don't already. And then if you got any more on Sunday, make sure you come check out the channel. Hit the bell for notifications when we go live on Sunday. We're going to be talking NFL bets. We're going to be talking NFL rankings, start sit show, and our DFS stuff on Sunday morning starting at 10:30 Eastern time.
Oh man. I just looked at this. I just looked at the wide receiver twos that the Jets have faced. Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, maybe? Is he the wide receiver 2 on the Chiefs? And then Jerry Jeudy last week. So, like, yeah, this is by far the best wide receiver 2. Devontae Smith is going to eat.
Yeah. But, yeah, guys. If you
I gotta bring in more stats always at the end for
you. You gotta love it. Guys, after you like and subscribe their stuff, please head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans and become a all access member. You get access to our Discord, access to our DFS projections and stacking tool, and just the custom league advice you get from all our guys over here at Fantasy Six Pack. But guys, before we get out of here, I want to ask you one more important question, and that is, are you guys fans of candy corn?
Yes.
I'm also a big fan of candy corn, the plant. Do you like it as well? Because they're catching a bad rap lately.
I like it, but it's not my go-to.
No,
it's all right.
Definitely
but you have too much of it. Oh, man. Your stomach hurts.
No doubt.
You hate the taste.
But as we keep heading towards Halloween, I'm going to keep asking you guys probably Halloween questions each week. So maybe next week, think about your favorite Halloween candy next week. You got a week to think about it.
Is this because you're preparing you're writing the list down of all the candy you're going to steal from your son when he trick-or-treats?
100%. And I'm the weird guy who's taken all the Almond Joys from my son. That's my top-notch candy. That's my spoiler for you guys already. But I'm curious your guys' thoughts. But we're going to save that for next week's show. So that's some homework for you guys. But
top 5 weird guy, Ike.
But yeah, guys, for Mike and Ike, I'm Dylan. We'll talk to you guys Sunday and next week.
Bye.